Hi Libra, welcome back. Let's take a look at what this month brings for your zodiac sign. One thing's for sure, big changes are ahead. Hi, beautiful Libra. We're here to do your zodiac sign. This is going to cover both July and for the next 18 months. Why is that? You'll know soon. And it is because we do have a North Node transitioning into a different star sign. The North Node will be in Aries and the South Node Libra. What does that all mean? I will unpack it for you here online. Now, the first key points, I always jump in at the beginning of the month with the key themes. I may make reference to the past, mainly to give you some context, but also to help you understand why we're sitting where we're sitting this month and addressing these circumstances for a collective and for your zodiac sign. Last month, we did have Pluto move out of Aquarius on the 11th and back into Capricorn, which is going to be quite significant near our full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July, which is the first big thing that's happening this month. The other thing that we did have going on last month was that we did have Saturn in Pisces retrograding as well as Neptune. Both of them are in their retrograde now, very much linking to your 6th house. The other point of reference is we did have an eclipse in Aries and we had an eclipse in Scorpio, which is linked to our current South Node. So what does that mean? That location in our chart had needed transforming. So when we shifted into the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio, what was going on was you were moving towards the North Node. And for you, that was very much linking to your 8th house. Your 8th house is connected to tax, debt, legacies, inheritances, changes with your partner's income. For those of you, be it was in a physical income, or it was the way you were saving, the way you were generating an income, other people's money, could have related to debt or inheritances. Jupiter currently is sitting in that position at the moment, so you can have some gains happening from that location, and there can be some lady luck, especially where it does come to you attracting money from other individuals and whatever you invest in, be it it's yourself or other situations. You can have more resources coming to you for the next, I would say, year, because it does transition out of that location next year. Separately, we do have, as mentioned, the first point of call is we have the full moon in Capricorn on the 3rd of July, the new moon in Cancer on the 17th of July. Venus, already sitting in the house of Leo, will be in shadow, moving into the month of July. And on the 23rd, it will go retrograde. The North Node moves into Aries from the 12th, and then Chiron in Aries shifts retrograde, which I do believe this is going to aid you, especially because this is in your romance zone, and Venus will be retrograde. So very interesting month indeed for your zodiac sign. So the full moon in Capricorn, what do we need to be aware of? Number one, we can look at this as hierarchy. Some of these themes I do believe are going to come up from 2020. That can be to how far we actually have come now. You know, Pluto really has been sitting in the house of Capricorn. In its total wrap-up, it's going to be 20 years. It's going to be ingressing between two signs, between Aquarius and Capricorn, between now and 2025. But it has returned into that position. It will be there during the full moon, and it is going to be in a retrograde. So this can be quite an intense change. I do feel systems are changing. I do feel very separately inside your life. This is your home, your family. It can be your conditioning, your beliefs. It can be spiritual closure as well. But there can be some intensity around a circumstance with family. I do feel this can be a time of changes within your direct home environment and, again, with family. What other way can this play out? This could be a home-based business, changes. This could be rules. This could be how home is affecting you, how unhealthy boundaries, but something's coming to a close, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. There could be a bit of nostalgia. There could be a revelation of a belief system that you have. So really the first week can be a bit intense. The other point of call I would make reference to is the fact that Pluto is there. Now, for you, it's very Scorpionic in energy, and especially if you do pull your birth chart and you know where Scorpio is, If you were having situations that you were trying to transform and you'd been working very hard, I do really believe your income is going to increase, and this can be coming in the years to come. We did have Scorpio in your second house, which is also very eighth house and very Pluto energy. As it moves out of the nodes, I do believe that there's going to be some changes. You can have a new way of generating an income, a new goal you're setting, maybe saving for a home. Some of you, yes, there is a possibility of moving of home. This can be somebody moving in, somebody moving out, a change with a contract, a change with a home living environment, a change with a relationship with a family. And also, this can be that families are returning and maybe on the same wavelength. Let's wait and see, and do come through and tell me how it lands for you this month. Now, with the new moon in Cancer, generally this does link to home and family. It is occurring on the 17th of July. This is a new chapter you're going to be entering into. For you, the area of this is career. This is, and again, we can say career, but it's purpose. So it's like, what are your goals in life? What's your purpose? What are you currently doing? Are you a retiree? So there's a role in your life that's evolving and changing, and it's going to be more. Can it be emotional initially? Yes, it can be. There can be some intensity. I definitely see career changes, ways in which you're doing, such as new opportunities coming to you, especially as we do have by this stage the North Node in Aries. This can be new opportunities, especially at a contract level. I would say if it's something you had already started moving towards over the last few months, it will probably bode better. Regardless, it is going to be a new chapter. And you can have new feelings towards it. The other thing is with Venus retrograde, especially because you are a Venus sign, you also in your life where you stand, be it it's a physical purpose, a goal, a feeling, you're going to be looking at your life from an emotional level very differently. It could be something very, very exciting. Whatever this chapter is, be it's relating to career, your identity, how you feel about yourself, and where you're going in your life. I would say over the next 6 months, it's going to be very different. The other thing is, if it is a physical career that you're moving into via Venus retrograde, values, what you're getting, how, the actions you're taking, it's all for a given reason. This also can be new connections that we are directly having and what our part is in our relationships, maybe with our family members, the healthy boundaries we need to create, and the more assertive vibration. And I generally do feel Libra is able to understand other people's needs, but you also have to understand your own. So it's about trying to find the harmony between you versus me versus we, in the context of the energy moving forward. Venus retrograde. Now, you are a Venus sign, as mentioned. Also, very separately, if you do go on to AstroSeek, big shout out to astroseek.com. You can type in birth chart. You can enter your data of your birth date, your time of birth. If you don't know, to get a rough variable of what that is, you can select I don't know the time of birth. When you draw the chart, you then need to go off to the right and it's going to say planet positions, and you can click on planet positions and it's going to show you what house you have Leo. That will be an added benefit. If it's still difficult for you, feel free to come through. We can interpret it. I can give you some advice on how to navigate the transit between the 23rd. Well, it's really the 1st of, I would say the 1st of July through till the 4th of September and beyond, because it will sit there till October the 8th, 2023. Now, what are the do's and don'ts? Number one is know that you're going to be restructuring. Know that you're going to be reevaluating. You are a Venus energy regardless. So what are those things? They can be linking to your 11th house. 11th house is wealth, gyms, social activities, friendship groups, big projects, big goals, loans, money coming in, wealth, physical wealth, because it's actually the big dollars, so to speak. All of these areas are going to be under review during this time. I also feel whatever those things are, you definitely are going to be very different in the years to come. We do have the North Node that's going to be sitting there in your 7th house. And I mean, there's a couple of Libra individuals, which again, it really does depend. We can't deem every Libra as a Libra. And that is because we have 12 houses in our chart. So the personality traits, Kim Kardashian, I believe, is a Libra. But when you look at her chart, I do believe, and quote me if I'm incorrect, I know she's got Pisces there somewhere. So how we're showing up in the world can come through in various positions in our chart. During this retrograde, you are going to end up reviewing these areas of, okay, what do I do? How do I generate an income? How do I feel? Who are the people I'm socializing with? Who are my friends? How do I directly relate to them? Do they appreciate me? Do I appreciate myself? Values, relationships, love. It's going to be passionate. Now, some intensity can be there. We do have both Mars and Venus there. They're not quite linking up, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be that they're not going to dispute each other. Here's hoping. It can be quite passionate, though. Your Venus house can be quite passionate. As it does transition, it's going to move into the house of Virgo. It will be a bit, not Venus, but Mars will be. Mars will move into the house of Virgo on the 10th of July. That there will create a different dynamic, especially in love. Again, psychologically, because it is to your 12th house, you can be thinking, you can be a little bit critical on yourself. You might have a lot of things that you've got to mull over. You might start to become very realistic and rational and require people to show you evidence that situations have changed. That's one way it can play out. So let's go back, as to how to deal with it. Can you deal with people of the past? 100% you can. Some astrologers, coaches, psychic mediums, they'll go, oh God, steer clear. But it's not. It's okay. We're revisiting these circumstances. We're looking at, have things changed in the time maybe we've been away from each other, or in the time we've been in the direct connection. So it is a time to reevaluate whether both parties' kind of value systems are working together on the same page. We don't have to be exactly the same, and Libra knows that best. But it can be, are we going in the same direction theoretically? How are you valuing me? How am I valuing you? Are our values on the same page? You get the gist. So navigating those things is going to be absolute key. I wouldn't do anything permanent. Now, this can be, jumping in the deep end and putting all your money. And again, this is not financial advice. This is one metaphor. Could you have lady luck there? You can, but we'd need to look at Jupiter, and 100% with Jupiter in your 8th house, there's luck there. It could be scratchies and things to that degree. I wouldn't go spending copious amounts. If there's a big project you're wanting to invest in, a group, a goal you have, an investment of some description, if you can delay and look into it, do your due diligence and do your assessment, that's going to work better than jumping in the deep end. Where it does come to wealth, you are going to find that harmony and the balance through. I still do feel there is a very real possibility of wealth creation for you, even during the retrograde. You can be sought after quite a lot, and you can be generating a lot more income even in its retrograde. But I would save some, especially because later in the year we are going to have Jupiter moving retrograde, and that can kind of bring things to a halt and slow things down. But definitely looking after your body because of other transits in the mix. Blast from the past, we'll get into your romance shortly. Now, Mars sitting in the house of Leo can charge passion into maybe the things that we like, a goal we're moving towards, hitting the gym and exercising. I would say be careful this month with that. It's not don't do it. It is because as we do have Chiron moving retrograde, we can be a little bit more accident prone because it's rushing. I would also say be careful in groups. Really great time to reassess things. Is this bringing me value? Is this bringing me money? Some of you can be working incredibly hard for money. The other thing is the tension points of the routine and the structures you were going through. The benefit is because both Saturn and Neptune are retrograde, it's going to help you restructure so that you can have that perfect, what we deem in, I can't say Libra requires optimum balance. If anything, you work quite well out of balance. We don't like to admit it, but it's very true. So, but it's finding something that's working more in harmony with you. And I feel that's what you're going to be dealing with as really Neptune and Saturn are retrograde in that zone. But as Mars moves into Virgo, try to not get up in your head too much. This can be very interesting. Some of you can experience headaches with this transit. You also could be deeply critical, that self-talk. So make sure that you know by the 10th, if that is cropping up for you, practice, do a bit of meditation. You can do some drinking extra fluid, deep healing, psychoanalysis. You're also going to be very intellectual, quick-witted, brand new ideas, great ideas. Think before we react, but also I feel a lot of you are going to want the information. If people are irritating you, you may be snappy. That is one thing I will say. Now, as the North Node moves into Aries, where is this hitting your 7th house? Okay, this is your romance house. This is your contracts. This is going to be lit up for you from the 12th through to 2025. So big portal. Not only do we have Venus retrograde, but this is your Venus house. So it's a double whammy. And Chiron's there. Any insecurities you have within its retrograde, you will have the tools to be able to rework these circumstances, be it it's career, it's your value, it's your body, it's healing, it's your health, it's your love. All of that will have a little bit more support, but some intensity until Chiron goes retrograde. While Chiron is retrograde, you will have to look after your Venusian energy. This can be the way you're eating, the way you're resting, the way you're caring for your body. You can be more busy during this time, especially with the North Node being there. But I would also be careful of how you care for your body. So getting enough sleep, drinking enough fluid, eating foods to support you. It's still very Mars, so I do believe you can be very, very active. Cycles also for feminines, because of the North Node, will over the next 2 years potentially be more heavy depending on the surrounding transits. Now, the South Node in Libra can be you versus other people. I do feel you're going to attract a lot of people into your life. So if you were quite happy with hermit mode and hey, sarah, having that, yeah, that's changing. You also are going to feel that it is important to not have to do everything yourself and to actually allow people to come into your life. To not only is it, you guys can be a little bit like Cancer, where you're sort of like, I'll do that for you. But if you're attacked, you're kind of like, it's the hand that fed them, and then there can be this sort of anger that can come up. I do particularly feel you're going to realize you're going to have a lot of help. You're going to have a lot of lady luck, but you are going to move towards it. But it's not only what they can do for you, but it's what you can do for them. But there is this give and take. You are particularly looking at your contracts. This could be also your connections. But what's going to work with you and create harmony? I do feel you're quite open to, over the next 18 months, have unique experiences, but I also feel you may be more assertive in these domains. And I don't necessarily, again, feel Libras are not assertive. I do feel they are. They have changed over the last few years. I definitely do feel that you will be more so. If people aren't respecting boundaries, you will address such. Again, your body can become extremely fit because it's Mars. It can be like weightlifting. The other thing is that you can find that you are attracting these things, and you're really pouring energy into your friendships, your romance, your connections, your goals. So big changes for Libra. Now, if you struggle from the 12th, as we do move towards the 23rd, this is going to aid you, okay? It's going to help you retract the tools, help you see where maybe you feel out of your depth. You can do some earth hurts to help ground you, and definitely your base chakra, Libra, okay? Let's look at your romance zone. Now, like I said, double whammy with Venus, blast from the past, 100, especially because we have Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and especially because we're having a full moon in Capricorn. There can be situations to do with family coming up. There also could be some squabbles, and this, yeah, more than likely, this could be couples more so. But again, on your own side of the fence, Libra, this also could be playing out I do feel some changes around family are happening, and you're kind of this also could be a deep meditation state where you're saying, okay, where I stand currently, the role I'm currently taking, with me being open to a romance, with the current status of where I am, is that doable? And what would need to change for that to be so? That is one way it can play out. The other can be suddenly moving in together. It can be like, let's give this a try. You could be seeing each other more. You could be socializing more. There could be some dirty laundry that comes out that you clear up, deep healing. And the conflict also can come from Pluto with children, okay? This can be other people's children. It can be your children. It can be siblings. I do feel it's temporary. There also could be great benefits. This could be, setting goals and saying to yourself, I want to physically live with somebody. I want to build a family with somebody. So, however it's playing out in the first week and beyond, there is a physical transformation happening there. I also feel if you'd felt quite run down, some of you are going to work out new ways to deal with stress, to deal with emotions, to deal with expressing things. If there has been frustration with the give and take, with friendships, connections, and partnerships, I feel for both singles and couples, you're both going to go through that. You're going to be looking at different ways you can address it. I also feel by mid-month, your relationship zone is heating up to 10. And beyond. So do not be surprised if there is more passion. Do not be surprised if there is a lot more socialization. A friend also could declare how they feel for you. It can, for some of you, come quite unexpected. I do feel some of you can make bold plans, and there are possibilities of reconciliations. This would be an interesting time to meet new individuals. Especially because we're moving into Venus retrograde. The tip I would give those that are meeting new individuals is, go slow. Really go into the investigation of it and really get to know each other. Dive deep. And just take your time, but really not locking in anything of a very permanent nature, if possible, until we reach September, I would say 5th. Now, your career zone, big changes. As I mentioned, we have the moon in Capricorn. We then have the moon in Cancer. This is home. This is changes surrounding home and family. I feel also some of your goals are going to come down to contracts. Now, there could be a lot of opportunities coming to you, Libra. There also could be opportunities to do things different. Many of you, if you do own your own business, you could be renegotiating the terms, looking at the value that you can bring and updating its demeanor. So this can be its website, it can be the content, it can be the goods and services you provide. Those things are going to go through a review, a reconstruction, so it's more suitable to the give and take in the business. This also at work is a similar situation, and you may find that you are attracting a lot of opportunities in. And I do personally feel that this is going to be, it's sort of what I'm visually seeing psychically is like a mountain that goes right up and then it's right down, right up, right down. It's like a heartbeat. So there's lots of intervals this month, which we're going to have spikes of tension, big transformation and shifts and changes. Watch out for those 2 moons, quite intense. The other thing I would say is some of you could be looking at the context of what you're doing for a career and if it's taking you to your goals. You could also take on a management position. Now, with that management position, although we will have Venus retrograde, there can be some negotiations coming through. Some of you can be working quite hard. Some of that money can come through right now. Some of it is the potential of what you're moving towards. But there is something that you're looking at of a monetary nature that you can attract in. I do directly feel in the long run this can be a big project, a large loan. Refinancing, yes, but this is a bigger picture thing. I do feel between now your wealth sector is really going to be charging up. And I feel over the next 3 to 4 months, you're going to be generating a lot. I would particularly hold some for August and beyond, especially as we do have Jupiter moving retrograde, because it can pull it back and there can be some changes in the contracts at that point, which again can be another pay rise. Wealth-wise, where it can go is into the beauty energy. You can find that you are really dealing with old circumstances and paperwork. This is going to balance out your resource sector. Some of you could have had to replace white goods. It might have been, yeah, white goods, fridges, washing machines. Might have been some repairs on homes that were required. There is a possibility of that reoccurring, especially near the full moon in Capricorn. As we do move towards the new moon in Cancer, I do really feel there can be a new energy coming through and possibilities, and you could be getting more onto an even keel. However, I would be careful during Venus retrograde for overindulgence with expenses and social activities, because something could become more expensive than necessary. So really checking that budget and allocating for such. Your health overall, I would be cautious as Chiron goes retrograde. We can get a bit more rundown. We also have both Neptune and Pisces in its retrograde. So keeping your hydration up, checking anything that feels off is key, because it is transiting through your 6th house. I do particularly feel many Libras are going to look different in the next 18 months, and that is because the North Node will be in Aries from the 12th for 18 months. This can be where you are desiring to start going to gyms, joining gyms, getting fit, weightlifting, changing the way you're eating. I do feel you're becoming very practical about keeping things simple, and you're willing to make those sacrifices, providing they are for the bigger goal that you have at hand. If you do need extra help with this and support, feel free to come through to the website. Very separately for our Venus, we do have Mind, Body, Soul in our membership hub on YouTube. It is added support that I will be guiding those individuals daily through the Venus retrograde. If you do want that as a Libra, being a Venus sign, please come through and join us. Separately, I would say if you are doing anything of a fitness nature, I would highly advise you to really use your stretching. I also feel, both from a Venus and a wellness point of view, this is more a safety point of view, during Venus retrograde, you must protect your safety. We can have interesting individuals out there in the collective, and no, we're not all cut from the same cloth. So, safety is going to be optimum between now and October 2023. Take care, beautifuls. I'll see you next month. Please come through and tell me how this lands for your star sign and how it played out.